Hello, my name's Linda and I'm going to tell you what I've learned from the reading. In chapter 1 it starts with the ruling class and ruling ideas, and basically this was a concept of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. And basically it said that material mental production of the upper class was the rule over the lower classes, that the lower classes lacked the means of material and mental production. They lacked the ideas that were formulated by the ruling class, and so the lower class serves to produce the ideas and create and put into a production the ideas of the upper class, giving them no time to formulate their ideas that would make them a member of the upper class. The upper class dominates by thinking and consciousness and producing ideas and regulating production and distribution, which is achieved by the lower classes in conforming to the rules and regulations and the ideas of the upper class. The bourgeoisie and aristocracy, the royals contend for power and mastery, and the doctrine of the separation of powers states that this is the dominant idea of the upper class, and the eternal law is adopted by the lower classes as put forth from the upper classes. The division of labour, the ruling class, they're the thinkers, and they divide by material and mental labour to the lower classes, who are passive and receptive in adopting the concepts. And this can lead to opposition and hostility by the lower classes towards the upper classes, as they are oppositional to what the ruling class is trying to submit to them. The history, the ruling class attributes itself, puts forth ideas it considers universal to the lower classes. It does this to serve its own purpose of the upper classes, and those purposes meet their own common interest. This can result in revolution of the lower classes, and they can rise up and try to adopt ideas and formulate thinking to become a member of the upper class. The upper class is removed from creating ideas, and relationships of men are derived from man. This form of self-determination is a concept of the upper classes. Marx's marginal note corresponds to the class versus estate and competition of all the classes. There's strength in the ruling class and the illusion of common interests, an illusion of the ideologists, and division of labour. The lower class can raise up and become bourgeoisie, and it comes to an end when there's not a common interest. Theorists, ideologists, philosophers dominate in the history, and this was expressed by Hegel, and Stirner calls it hierarchy. This is confined to the following three efforts. Separate ideas of those ruling for empirical reasons, and that these are illusions. This rule of ideas serve as acts of self-determination and distinction by thought, and to remove this self-concept it is changed into a person, resulting in removal. The lower class believes that all the upper classes, what they profess, is true. Okay, and then the history of the subaltern classes. Antonio Gramsci, he identified that the ruling class is recognized in the states, and that unity is not political or juridical. Its association is due between the state and civil society. The states, the subaltern classes are not unified, and they cannot become unified until they become part of the state. In order to do that, they need to study the following: objective formation and subaltern groups whose aims it conserves for a time, their adherence to political formations and their ability to put forth their own claims, and then the birth of the new parties assuring the rising of the subaltern groups, maintaining control over others, the formation of their own claims, and claims adhere to previous frameworks, and these claims assert the integral economy. The concept of ideology was put forth by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, and states that classes have material production and controls mental production, and that's how they control the lower classes, assures dominance by ruling class, achieves and distorts reality. Division of classes is man-made, and rationale serves economic system. Lower class accepts this, which is called false consciousness. Antonio Gramsci believes power derives from consent rather than by force. Lower class adopts ideas that are natural and commonsensical, and they're from the higher class, and ideas serve the purpose of the upper class. The work of art in the age of mechanical reproduction, that's where the division of classes and genders and stereotypical beliefs are put forth to the lower classes and all those observing, and it formulates ideas that are considered normal and universal in the eyes of the lower class, and that's how they reinforce the divisions between the classes, genders and different groups. And the politics of representation is where, again, the media, the politics, the education, they attribute certain behaviours to various groups. Some of it's derogatory, and in this way they put out beliefs that the lower classes and those observing consider as normal for those particular groups, and this can lead to increased discrimination of the various groups, and people adopt the portrayals of these groups by what the media, education, families and so forth put forward about each individual group, such as gays and various other groups, blacks, Chinese, whatever the group is. The media puts forth those beliefs so that people adopt those same beliefs, stereotypical types, discriminations of varying groups. Observes now, they form, as the people watch it and they get to formulate their own knowledge, they observe more realistic ideations about these different groups, formulating their own groups based on their observations, and that somewhat erases discrimination, but it still perpetuates power of the hierarchies and different groups. And that's all that I can put forth right now. I hope that's okay. I find that book very difficult to read and understand, but I'm finding that the more I read it, then I'm getting a better concept of what it's trying to say. Thank you.